Hoping you folks had a wonderful Easter weekend and a great Easter. Dawn says there's no sound, but there should be sound.
Should be sound.
You never know when that message comes in wrong. I think there's sound.
That's there. Cody's checking it.
What about these two things?
That's there. It's good now. So, I don't know what
we got sound. Okay, that's good.
I don't know what was lagging today.
I don't know. We're just.
Anyway, Scott Tomko, Marvin Makers, Mark Kurtz on the podium.
Any minute. You just better be ready.
Didn't get any sleep?
No, I got plenty of sleep. What a great weekend. We, of course, yesterday was Easter, but we had the entire fam in. And that's, believe it or not, as the kids have gotten older, that's actually relaxing. It used to be stressful. But the baby was here. Katie was here with Kennedy, with the grandbaby.
Good thing they didn't send her on her own.
No, we all folks. No, it would have been fine. You could have put her in a little box, poked some holes in it. We'd have gotten her. She would have been awesome.
Why are you ready to snap today?
I don't know. I think I'll tell you
part
part of it.
I'll tell you. For the last few days.
I'll answer. You asked. I'll answer if you'll let me. The Longhorn baseball team sucks. The Longhorn girls basketball team, I'm convinced, either the East or West, and certainly an all-star team of the East and West boys could have beaten the Texas Longhorns' #1 ranked women's basketball team by 30 on Saturday evening. They played terribly against UCLA. Women's softball dropped a couple of games to Alabama. The only real victory over the weekend was the successful rescue of an American F-15 pilot after a bombing run into Iran.
They got the first guy out within, an hour or two?
Yeah, I mean, he was fine. The second guy was on the run, a very, very Mission Impossible type rescue, which is amazing. CIA coordinating. The guy had some kind of a low-frequency transponder, may not be the right word, but some type of a transmitter that was able to be picked up by us and not by them. The United States sends in a couple of C-130s, a bunch of helicopters, a bunch of assets, and rescues this guy. It's amazing. It's literally finding a needle in a haystack. This guy's avoiding the IRGC and the natives, the goat herders that are the tribe that's in the mountains, and they're looking for him, and they're offering.
Tehran apparently offered $60,000 for his capture,
and the U.S. frantic to not have him captured. He would have been paraded on television, probably beheaded. All the stupid things they do over there in Towhead land, they would have, killed him publicly.
And then the Democrats here would have complained that we're violating the Geneva Convention.
And that we had it coming. It would have been, you're invading them. You have it coming. But the United States military has had win after win after win. And no matter where you stand on what's going on in Iran, and I'm going to get to it because I think even the Pope has lost his gourd. No matter where you stand on the issue in Iran, the efficiency, the extreme conservative nature when it comes to loss of life by our forces is the most impressive thing in my lifetime. I mean, if you just go back one generation to the greatest generation, the answer to D-Day was to throw so many bodies at the enemy that sooner or later enough would get through to win. That was the American philosophy. We're going to put 500,000 troops on beaches all over Europe, and hopefully enough will get in. If you ever seen Saving Private Ryan, people were slaughtered wholesale on the beaches because at the time that's what was required. And now America very, very efficiently and under the scrutiny of the ignorant who just continue to go, we lost that one guy, That one guy died. What about those people? I mean, these are people that could not stomach the Civil War. These are people who they would not have ever fought the Revolutionary War. We would still be subject to England under the leadership of the soft, white underbelly of the left and many on the right. People just don't have the stomach for what it takes to remain free. The Pope came out yesterday. I mean, at any rate, do you have any problem with me calling this to a degree jihad, a war against a theocratic religious leadership? Isn't that kind of what's at play here? Islam versus the culture of the left, of the right, I mean, with the Western Europe?
Islam versus Christianity?
Sort of. Pope Leo says, let those who have weapons lay them down. Let those who have the power to unleash wars choose peace. Not a peace imposed by force, but through dialogue. Not with the desire to dominate others, but to encounter them. You have diametrically opposed philosophies.
Is he talking
here.
to Iran there?
I think he's talking to both of them. I don't think that the Catholic Church is pleading with the Muslims to lay down their arms. I think the Catholic Church is pleading with the United States to stop bombing them. These are the people that brought us the Inquisition and the Crusades. The Crusades were not about saving people. The Crusades were about blasting Islam back then.
It was a response to,
Stephanie Connie, Pope Leo doesn't know what he's talking about. You're right, he doesn't. He wears a lot of white, lives inside a, heavily guarded,
walled city.
Yeah, walled city.
Has borders and strong laws against immigrating to
Bask in a freedom provided by the United States.
So Reuters reportedly reporting this morning that Iran and the U.S. have received a plan that could end hostilities if agreed to today, because, of course, tomorrow morning, Trump has promised to
unleash
start
on the bridges and the power plants.
Everything in Iran, bombing him back to the Stone Age. Apparently a framework to end the hostilities put together by Pakistan and exchanged between Iran and the U.S. last night. According to the New York Post, it's a two-tier approach with an immediate ceasefire followed by a comprehensive agreement. But all elements would need to be agreed to today, according to
So it's
sources.
for sure going to involve Iran agreeing to never develop a nuclear weapon, to cease the development of uranium, to agree to anytime the U.S. wants to inspect anywhere that we're allowed to do it. I'm telling you, they're going to reject it. They're going to reject it because they would just as soon die in the name of Allah. And I'm perfectly content to allow them to do so.
Apparently, J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, Iran's foreign minister, and Pakistan's army chief have been in contact overnight. And the ceasefire would take place immediately. The Strait of Hormuz would open with immediately. There'd be about a 15 to 20-day window to finalize a broader settlement.
Lost in all of this is the fact that Iran does not own the Strait of Hormuz.
No.
It's not their sovereign territory. It's not like the United States is forcing them to defend a piece of territory they own. They don't own that. It's not in Iran. There's no problem.
It's just easy for them to get to because they have land all along it.
That's right. They need to cease. And by the way, I don't understand JP, that's a great question. I don't know how Pakistan became the deal maker, but I don't understand why those folks in Western Europe, unless it's just like you don't want to go open a Baptist mission in Little Mogadishu, Minnesota. I don't understand why The folks in Western Europe who are now paying, pick a number, $4 a liter for fuel, aren't over there saying, hey, you've done the heavy lifting. We're going to bring enough troops over here to make sure that they don't send missiles, and we got to get this oil flowing. This idea of you've got to come through our section of the Guadalupe River, we want $2 million per canoe. That's what we'll do. We'll go upstream a little towards Cuero, and when they do that river safari, we will find a little neck-down piece of the Guadalupe where they all have to come through.
We'll charge them.
The Strait of Wade and Carter, and we will charge them a toll to come through there. That is the lunacy we're dealing with in the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, apparently the only ships getting through are paying for oil in the Chinese yuan.
Right, so guess who's benefiting? Russia and China. And Western Europe is content because they are weak.
Well,
they
and because it's
worthless.
And because it's destroying the petrodollar, right?
Which makes them happy. It's like we said the other day,
and
whether it's the petrodollar, regime change, women's rights, whatever you want to do, you want to be gay, hey, you can't do that in Iran.
Here's what I don't understand with all this. Well, the U.S. is just printing money and that weakens the dollar, so we need to find something else. How many times over the last 50 years, 60 years, has China just reset the value of their currency? Oh, because they're communist and they can.
Right.
But that never comes into the equation.
Look at there. Stephanie Conti said you can do it on Conti property. Now we have a location to set up our toll booth. And we could disguise it to look festive. We could have like a little loop. Wade and Carter. We could play that goofy theme song.
Could we sell breakfast tacos or something?
I think we could. I think we could hang a pinata, and then when they go by, they can smack it with their
swipe
oars.
At it.
And whoever's lucky enough to knock it down wins.
$50 a boat, and if they don't come by, we just topple them.
Get a bunch of last year's Easter candy that's still sitting in the cupboards.
Yeah, I had about 50 of those malted chocolate-covered eggs.
Yeah, not a fan of malted.
Dawn's word of the weekend was, again, still.
Dinah Hawes checking in. B. Small, Wendy Hughes Garcia, Ron Koshin, Sherry too, Tommy Kingston, good morning.
What did Tommy say?
Destruction of all the C-130 that went down. Apparently got stuck in the sand. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, they couldn't take off. You know, though, this is kind of the culmination. This is life coming full circle from the 79 debacle involving Jimmy Carter trying to rescue a couple of guys out of Tehran. The idea that we can go into the middle of nowhere, deploy troops, land equipment, take helicopters, find one guy, surgically remove him from, it's almost like vindication. It's almost like life coming full circle. The politics of the engagement aside, I'm extremely proud of the United States military and its ability to get things done. When you can have a full-scale war for a month and count all the casualties on fingers and toes, that's not bad.
Well, here's what's funny or ironic. I don't even know the right term right now. The same people that are criticizing us blowing up the C-130, well, the cost of getting one man.
They didn't care about the $85 billion that Biden left
exactly
behind.
Where I was
there.
going with this. They had no problem leaving all this stuff to the Taliban and didn't criticize Joe Biden when he left it all behind.
Yeah.
So now we don't leave it behind. So the IRGC can't go and get all that stuff and use it against us.
Linda Chris says, hey, we used diplomacy with Iran since the 70s. You know,
well, we haven't really.
Barack Obama's deal was terrible. It would have allowed them to ultimately have nuclear weapons. That's part of the agreement. We don't want them to have nuclear weapons ever because they would use them. And that leads to John Anderson's question, what exactly is the war in Iran really about? John, being a Marine veteran, sir, thank you always for your service. It's easy for me on this side of the pond and relative freedom of speech to be able to stand here and say, I think it's about advanced intel that revealed that even though we destroyed that facility out in the desert with the mother of all bombs and the bunker busters and all that stuff, even though we destroyed that facility, we did not hit their stores of uranium that was already at 60%, that experts and when they were visiting with Witkoff and Kushner, they said, we believe we could have that stuff enriched to 90% weapons grade in 7 to 10 days. And the government coming along and saying, oh, by the way, you can buy a centrifuge. The equipment was not
Order it
special.
on Amazon.
So we want to eliminate the possibility of the braggadocious Iranians saying it is our right. It is our inalienable right to enrich uranium. And oh, by the way, when they said that, people were shouting death to America, death to Israel. And I think that Donald Trump just said, you know what? Not on my watch. I don't believe that it was nearly as hasty as some do. But when you also throw in that they have a horrible record on human rights, they have a horrible record, any of you that care about the LGBTQ community, that doesn't exist in Iran. There is no rainbow flag in Iran. It's not there. They will kill you for this.
Well, it's funny how the left is sitting there going, well, he's gonna violate the Geneva Convention if he does all that. And they don't care about the human rights that Iran is just trampling all over their own citizens. They don't
care about that at all. And by the way, I don't really care about all those LGBTQ rights either. I think that rights as Americans are rights as Americans. You shouldn't be treated adversely for having mental illness, but at the same time, you don't get any special privileges for being mentally ill. But in Iran, they're like, we're not going to put up with it at all. But nobody seems to care about that because Donald Trump is involved. At the end of the day, whether you're after women's rights, human rights, protecting Israel, eliminating the funding to Hezbollah and all the admitted largest state sponsor of terror on the planet, whether you're making sure they don't have nuclear weapons or you simply want a regime change, any of which, to me, given their history since the last 47 years, any of those is a good enough reason to blow them up. When you put them all together, I think it's almost a holy war. Blow them up.
I think if it was any other, first off, I don't think if it was any other Republican president, we'd be doing this.
We've had gutless Republicans for years.
But let's say one Marco Rubio decided to do this if he was president. I don't even know that the left would be as outraged as they are simply because it's not Trump.
I agree with you 100%.
They're only as mad as they are because this is Trump. It doesn't matter. We've talked about this before.
It is a
doesn't matter what
derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
Wendy Hughes Garcia says they being the left in this country, only care about the human rights that fit their agenda, that push their agenda and their narrative. And that's true.
And I think this might be more about something else other than the things you've talked about. I think
Could
this
be
might
about
be
oil.
No, partly, and I think the petrodollar plays a bit of a role in this, but I think it's also resetting the fact that Donald Trump wants America to be the superpower, and he's tired of China's communist influence in the Western Hemisphere, as shown with what he did in Venezuela and the playing that's going on in Cuba.
I think China's weak right now.
And I think that's what this is about more than anything else, is reestablishing the world order so that America's back at the top of that pecking order.
Yes. And we've also ferreted out
China's
who our real
number
allies
two, taking the place of the Soviet Union from the last Cold War, which I don't think we won't have a Cold War, but the pecking order is being reestablished, and it's no longer China, the United States.
That's right. I agree.
Iran, Russia. I think it's now the United States, China, and
Russia.
Russia
or
maybe,
Ukraine.
or Yeah, I don't
Whoever
think either
wins.
one of them. I think it's a stew of every other country because
Russia
really
has shown you that they're
there's really
somewhat
no
of a
third
paper
power.
tiger. Russia is bordering irrelevancy. I mean, I'm sorry. If they can't compare the two wars, I'm not saying Donald Trump swore that we would not be in a forever war. Look at how Iran, I think, a superior force to Ukraine. Look how Iran versus the U.S. has gone compared to how Ukraine versus Russia has gone. We went in and took over Venezuela in 36 minutes. The 36-minute war. We have effectively
Previous world
closed
record was
down
7 days.
Cuba. We have closed down Cuba. You know what Cubans celebrated on Good Friday? Honestly, the big attaboy for their country, they released like 2,000 prisoners out of their prisons to let them go home to their families. That's their celebration because they went home. They went from a dark prison to a dark home because they don't have any fuel.
Well, and they were probably being held because they're political prisoners,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah. They probably weren't hardened criminals or actual criminals.
I think, and I tell you what, if you're objective, whether you agree with this war or not, you know, I asked several people over the weekend, one being my son-in-law, Stephen, who's a captain in the Army. Doesn't make him an expert, but I mean, he's an officer in the United States military. I asked him, do you think that if somebody were foolish enough, and they would be foolish, to attack the U.S. on our soil, invade us, China pulls boats up to New York and they invade us, do you think NATO would immediately rush troops to help our country? He goes, no, are you kidding me?
Who said that?
My son-in-law. He goes, no, are you kidding me? No, there's no chance. He goes, NATO has shown what they're all about, what they've always been about. And you know what? He added a caveat. They would not because they can't. He goes, through the years, he goes, do you realize that if we pulled every deployed American troop out of Western Europe might fall in a matter of weeks to anybody that wants it. Italy can't defend itself. Spain can't defend itself. England, the UK, barely. They have two carriers. One's in a dry dock. They have two carriers. Those countries are emotionally, for sure, and physically dependent upon the safety provided by the United States of America. Good morning,
Yeah, they always
State
have
Rep
been.
Louderback.
There's no secret there.
That's right. So the idea,
But they would send troops.
No,
they would respond.
I still think.
No, I think that's part of the rhetoric that's being fueled by this country to justify the war. It's
very,
politics.
very difficult for the U.S. to withdraw from NATO. It's very, very treaty deep, very difficult. It's not as easy as Trump issuing an executive order and saying we're out of NATO. It doesn't work that way. But this is just something that's okay that we disagree, and I pray to God that it's never an issue in this country. I'd be curious to see what you folks think. I don't believe that our allies in Western Europe, I don't believe that the North Atlantic NATO ever anticipated anybody invading the United States of America.
No, it was designed more for Europe's protection.
But
than
I
it
don't
was.
believe they would say, oh, cheerio, let's go, mates. It's time to go fight for the old USA. I think they would do exactly what they're doing for the exact same reasons they're doing it now. We're not going to send our young men into harm's way, and then that's not our war anyway. They're fighting with the Muslims. They would do that to squelch their own Muslim populations. I believe it. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just, it's what I believe in my heart. I don't put it this way. You can't count on them. I don't believe you could count on those allies. Oh, Scott Snow, they wouldn't do anything. Stephanie Conner, they wouldn't help a bit. Now, we can all be wrong, but I just don't agree with you. I think what needs to happen in this country,
agree with you, so
and that's fine. Well, you don't agree with us, but that's okay. I think what you need to have happen in this country is for the United States to systemically, over time, withdraw from NATO. Start bringing troops home. Start bringing our troops back to the U.S. We need to, this won't happen under this regime, apologize and reestablish a really good trade relationship with Canada, treating Canada more like a stepbrother than another, province. And we need to really, really enhance our relationship with Mexico to include going in and eliminating militarily the cartels. We need to have a North American get-together.
No, I agree.
That is the way to do it. Let Europe fend for themselves. Let them deal with the Strait of Hormuz. We don't need their oil. Don't need it. Us, Canada,
But there's no
and Mexico.
reason why North America isn't a stronger. I mean, it's strong, but it could be a stronger trade pact.
We need to be friends with Canada again. And like I said, we need to basically apologize to Canada. We do. We need to say, hey, look, things got a little heated. How about we take all the tariffs off and we won't send milk across your border for 5 years. We're there. We're on your side.
Here's the there's the fallacy in that. The milk that actually goes to Canada, I mean, the stuff that actually gets tariffed is such a small quantity.
That's right.
It's not even
Andrew
funny.
Alvarez says North America plus Greenland.
And
I can
actually,
agree with that.
I'll go further. I think we need to be strengthening ties with the entire Western Hemisphere. You have conservative and ultra-conservative governments being democratically elected in places like Argentina, Peru, in South America and Central America. Why are we not embracing those leaders? I know we've got a pretty good relationship with Milei and Argentina, but there are now other countries in the Western Hemisphere that are electing conservative governments. They're going away from socialism as the left here wants to embrace it even more because it's failed down there.
Yep.
This president, this administration needs to be embracing those countries and pulling them into us from a trade perspective to strengthen their economies so that capitalism can flourish and they're not tempted to go back to socialism.
Yep, I agree. Not to mention, if we went into Mexico and offered Scheinbaum military support to eradicate the cartels, which we could do, believe it or not, getting the cartels out of Mexico would be more difficult, more time-consuming, and would cost more American lives than this war with Iran.
I agree.
It would have to be a continent commitment in order to do so. And at the end of the day, if we told them, we will do that for you, and we will seal your southern border to keep the Hondurans and the Guatemalans and all those people down there.
Here's the problem with that. Scheinbaum would not be committed to that.
Well, you know what? You saw how long it took to get Maduro. She may need to be replaced as well. I'm just telling you. Well, Brent, you're talking about getting rid of the leader of a sovereign nation. Well, you know what? Can you imagine?
When the country is effectively run by all the narco-terrorists or all the
100%.
all the cartels that we've declared are terrorists and narco-terrorists and criminals.
Do you realize that if we can start manufacturing things again in Mexico and in conjunction with the United States, that you could effectively double or triple the average income in Mexico in one day?
I had a former student athlete's family who lived in Monterey. They had to flee. Successful business, family-run business. Cartel members, but he had graduated. He came back. He talked to me about 3 years after the fact. Cartel members busted into the office. His dad had already hired private security. They killed the guy, cold-blooded, right there, just to make a point. Then forced his dad to sign over his business to them for pennies on the dollar. They gave him a little bit of money. Wasn't near what the business is worth. That's what they do. He owned an auto wrecking business, scrap metal yard. When I asked him why they wanted it, he said so they could hide all the bodies. They didn't want it to be businessmen and to recycle used cars. They could dispose the bodies in those vehicles, and nobody was ever come looking for them.
Our very astute audience pointing out that Justin Bieber and Bryan Adams, who I like Bryan Adams, by the way. Interesting story on Bryan Adams. He had a lot of issues as a kid.
Good morning, Marina.
That those two guys are, let's say, negatives from Canada, but that John Candy offsets that because he was so good.
Kelvin Leininger with a pretty solid point. Our president might be inclined to support Democratic elected neighbors, but the CIA and other deep state alphabet agencies would actively undermine those efforts.
Possible.
Yeah, I don't know if they would so much anymore, but
they like to have their guy in there.
I mean, if you think about it, the CIA has done enough to destabilize Central and South America for 70 years.
But you want to talk about not needing anybody? If we had, there's T-Lat checking in. Good morning, Donnie. If you had a real agreement, in practice, almost an open border with Mexico, but you also had trade arrangements that allowed the Mexicans, who are very proud, to stay in Mexico and make a better living. Hey, sure, you can come over here and pick our vegetables and fruits, and we'll pay you for that. But you don't have to worry about wiring the money home. You can walk back across the border to your homes. Instead of $6 a day, if they made $6 an hour, can you imagine what Mexico could be like?
Well, we do have those agreements in place.
Yeah, but they're all being squashed, and the cartel is in the middle of all of it. I just think that my plan would be to let Italy see, oh, by the way, our troop presence in Italy, it's half beginning May 1st. Good luck. Good luck over here. Hey, we wish you the best. Hope you get your aircraft carrier out of dry dock there, England, since we've been protecting you since World War II, protecting your dental clinics. Folks, Paravita Wellness inviting you in and get healthy. The Vita Cafe had great brunches. I drove by 2 days. I did not stop. I drove by, and they were great.
Well, yesterday was Easter.
Yeah, but wow. People going out to eat and enjoying the Vita Cafe. Paravita Wellness helping you with your carbs, your macros.
Carbells.
Your carbells. More cowbell at the Paravita Wellness. Get in and see Erica Briggs and let her help you. Went services for all your generator needs. Went for you're building a she shed in the backyard, but you want a mini split AC and
why wouldn't you?
Maybe an extra washer and dryer. Get mom an extra washer and dryer for Mother's Day. Put it out there. You need some 220, 230, whatever it takes.
Is he dying over there?
Commander Cody and anaphylactic shock. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300.
Give Allen's a call for all your go-to tow-to needs, whether you're on the side of the road, your car won't start, lock your keys in it, you got old-fashioned doors.
There you go. Allen's Wrecker Service
your
can
code.
help you. Veracruz Restaurant, it's a Monday. Yeah, that could happen to me. Can't remember my code. Veracruz can help you enjoy the best queso, hot sauce, fresh chips, guacamole. It's creamy. Secret olive oil. Get into Veracruz.
Is that what it is?
Get into Veracruz today. Look at that Honda.
Yep, I'm going to get that
The
right now.
Atzenhofer Chevrolet Vehicle of the Week.
My pre-owned vehicle of the week. There it is, folks.
That's on the screen now. I don't know if you do it.
I don't know. You might have to.
I don't know. Am I doing something incorrect?
I think you just have to.
Just cut back to us.
Yeah, then I think we're good.
What do you got there? It's a hybrid Honda. Tell me what we got
Accord.
there.
It's a nice one.
Go scroll a little
It's
bit.
2024.
It's only got, okay, it's got 49,000. It's essentially 3 years old, right? Because it came out in 23, 24, 25. I mean, it's pushing 4 years old. It's got 50,000 miles on it.
But it's got that hybrid engine.
Yeah.
Great gas mileage.
Nice
Very
color.
reliable.
50,000 miles on a Honda is just getting broke in. It's
Certified used car. Carfax, one owner. So there you go. Seats 5. It's got all your amenities that you like.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Honda. It's going to run forever.
It'll run forever. It's a good-looking car.
Yep. And where's the price on it? There it is.
It's free. How much is it going to be at the top?
$27,556.
There you go. In the same breath that I tell you it's really something that we're in a market where a used car pushes $30,000, but I would encourage you, and I think one thing that this segment does to bring awareness, cars are expensive, and they just are. So,
gray, not silver.
yeah.
Nice interior. Yep.
I like the idea that folks can see this in real time. That's nice. Very clean. Look at that back seat. Nobody's ever been in it. Not any room to get jiggy with it anyway. There is, Ash, guy
No.
like you.
Nice car.
It is a nice car.
Run forever.
Clean.
Yep.
Little old lady,
Hondas hold their value.
little old lady only drove it to church and back. Church was in Salt Lake City.
She went twice a year.
Twice a year. Pilgrimage.
There you go. Nice
There
looking
you go.
vehicle. It's my used car of the week. Go get it while it's still there.
That's nice.
Oops, don't want to end the screen. I want to just stop the sharing of the screen. There we go.
A listener says disparaging NATO and encouraging withdrawal from NATO does not make us more prosperous or safer. I don't think it affects our safety in any way whatsoever. Number one, we're not in Western Europe. And number two, I don't think they would come anyway. So it doesn't affect my view of safety or prosperity. The idea that it's funny how the left doesn't want to do anything in the name of propping up the petrodollar because that's all about prosperity. But if you decide to do something else, then, well, you're going to make us less prosperous. It's the hypocrisy of the tormented, mentally ill left. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Forget the subject. Forget the subject. The hypocrisy of their mores, their outrage. Oh, you're just doing that to prop up the stock market. And then something happens. You're killing my 401k. Right or wrong does not matter to the left. It's a godless organization.
And it's more evident because of this president.
Absolutely. And like him
It's
or hate him. And by the way,
turbocharged because Trump is the president.
many of you hate him right now to the point that, but just by the way, I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear or believe about yourself. If you hate the activities of our government through the use of our military right now, you have been shaped by the world system to accept an Islamic presence that has no place in this country. It's the way it is. If you don't believe me, did you see where those countries in Europe that are early on, you may know the exacts, Cody can dig it up. Early on, they were condemning the United States for deporting people. And now they all had an agreement. I think it occurred in Poland. I'm not saying that's where it happened. They had an agreement.
No, you are saying that's where it happened. You think that's where it happened.
They agreed to deport their illegal immigrants. So, and by the way, I'm not directing my comments at any one mentally ill, godless, leftist person. I'm just saying if you're out there and your view of what's going on is that the U.S. is doing something immoral or doing something wrong or that
well, they hate this country as it is, right?
That's right.
They don't like the American ideal. They don't like what America has stood for most of our lifetimes in the previous couple of generations, if not going back at least 3. They want America to be reframed as a socialist country because they believe that's benevolence.
They do. Because it's always great to take care of people with other people's money.
No. They think the government is the ultimate arbiter in charity.
That's
and
right.
charitable causes and can take care of you and things better than anybody else. That's the problem with the left.
And as much as you hear us on this show rationalize and theorize and to a degree apologize for the actions of the current administration, each of you has also heard us question, complain, disagree with the same administration. There are people that listen to this show. I don't know why they listen. In fact, sometimes I wish they wouldn't. There are people that listen to this show who never, ever acknowledge that this administration does anything good. The Abraham Accords alone should have made Trump legendary. Going in to retrieve this pilot, if you're going to give the blame to the top for everything that happens, ought to give Trump an amazing attaboy. Those of you who still think that somebody walked into a room and that there was a sign with arrows on it that said Epstein Files, kiddie porn, videos, if you believe that happened, I just can't help you. Your hatred for Donald Trump, your desire to say, see, I told you he was raping little kids, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. Those same people where there is more outrage about Trump than is even believable, where are they at with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Bill Gates? Where are they at with Bill Gates? You know, his name doesn't even come up.
Oh, it's all over the Epstein files.
No
Bill
doubt, but
Gates?
it doesn't come up in, nobody's saying,
No.
interrogate Bill Gates.
No, they're not talking about it at all.
Yeah. I don't really get worked up over the idiots. I feel for them, and I do wish they would go away. The narcissistic left that, man, I'm talking about, it is overwhelming how nobody likes you. Unbelievable, but they persist.
Heather Stewart says NATO's done nothing to help the U.S. No, that's not true. They were there front and center for the Gulf War.
That's true. They were. And by the way, at that time, I think the U.S. was paying about 80% of their military bills, but they were there. I mean, they were there. I'll admit that. And NATO could be good again. By the way, that was not a defensive action. That was actually
No, but it was a
where-
coalition of our allies, including some NATO members,
I just don't believe
because George W. got them all on the same page that convinced them Iraq had weapons of mass destruction.
The tourists. I don't believe
And they were the first to act in Yugoslavia when
that we've
what's
got.
going on there.
Yeah, Donnie, they get obsessed. I think it's a crush. I would have never noticed them when we were kids, and I don't hardly notice them now. I don't feel like the NATO folks. I mean, looking back, part of the disdain for us now involves the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction. Oh, here goes the U.S. off on another tangent.
Well, and I think there's, if you look at the parties in power in a lot of those countries, they suffer as much from Trump derangement syndrome as the left does here.
That's right.
And I think they were taken to task and called out for their lack of support and living up to the arrangements they agreed to when it came to NATO, because politically spending more on their militaries wasn't a good thing in their countries because their people didn't like it.
But when you've got a country full of Muslims and you're like, well, why are you spending so much money on military defense? Well, in case the Muslims come to get us. Well, all of a sudden, that's not popular. You know? But, you know, this is consistent. I'm going to tell you all how the story ends since we're coming off Easter. This is consistent with, I believe, with biblical prophecy. You can't find anywhere in Revelation where you feel like the U.S. is really a factor in the end times. I think there's a real chance that things continue to go the way they
US
are.
didn't exist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the prophecy is still there. I think absolutely the Bible deals with the United States in several issues. But you start going along, and at the end of the day, I'm not going to be surprised they switch over to do things with Chinese currency, and we go broke, and people that sit here and go, I don't understand, but we become essentially an afterthought as a country, like Spain. We're like Greece, broke. It's still Greece, but it ain't Greece.
I don't think Greece ever was Greece. Greece is the word, by the way.
Greece is the word. Deerland Feed Store, we've already talked about, but the chopping block, get in this week, buy beef, chicken.
Yeah, you've had your fill of ham.
That's
over
right.
the weekend, so go get some beef, go get some boudin, go get some sausage.
That's the great thing. You can buy a 8-pound ham at the store, and you eat 2 pounds of it, and then the other 8 turn green in your refrigerator.
Freezes nicely, though.
Chopping block.
It's great for breakfast. Dice it up, throw it in your scrambled eggs.
Absolutely. Chopping block this week. Get in. John Turner and his team can take care of yours.
Trying to see what they have. Stall a little.
Do it.
If you can.
Cheslick Furniture, Cheslick and Love, make your house a home. Bobby Leon and his family have been in downtown Victoria in their current location for over 80 years.
Yep.
Beautiful
Been in business
place.
for over 100.
Oh, yeah.
106.
Multi-generation. Bobby Leon's still there to take care of you and yours. Go in this week, grab some furniture. They'll deliver it this week. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. We had a great time last week.
We did on Thursday.
It was great. Yep. Get into Palace Bingo and have a good time. Raise money for 7 local charities. And this is kind of the way we do things too. Like we're going to have a protest/rally, but we're going to do it with a purpose. It's not going to be like a bunch of idiots standing around with homemade signs flipping people off when they drive by because they disagree with us.
Should I put my signs back in the closet?
Yeah, put your signs back in the closet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get out your magic markers and start sniffing them again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's like, can I use model glue? I guess so.
I have.
Tell me what's going on with the chopping block. Did you find it?
Yeah, they've got Wagyu beef briskets at $12.99 a pound. Rosewood Ranches, Texas raised Wagyu beef briskets. That's a good price on Wagyu briskets, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prime ribs, it's competition week, so they're getting ready. So they've got all their competition style stuff for sale. Go and get it.
Junior Samples checking in.
They're going to be at a cook-off in Hempstead this week. They got a cook-off in, looks like Luling. There you go.
Junior and Andrew Alvarez inviting you on Saturday mornings to listen to The Mandate. It's a good show. I like that turd in the punch bowl. Too funny.
James Kurth, who are the ones claim they had no weapons of mass destruction? How many Kurds were murdered by chemical warfare in Iraq? No, they were, yeah.
I see James Kurth. See, there you go. I agree. And Iran, by the way, Iran bragging that they have enough 60% uranium to make 11 nuclear weapons, and then showing that they do have long-range missile capabilities. I've got no problem bombing them for military reasons only. It's no problem. Anything else, regime change, any of that's just a bonus. And Trump has warned them, and this weekend he said on Tuesday, which, by the way, he gave them today, you'll see Pakistan brokered an agreement. Everything's got to be agreed to. He gave them all day today to get their toweled heads around it. On Tuesday, he's going to bomb bridges and power plants. Okay, if that's how you want to play, we can plunge you into permanent darkness with no way to go anywhere. That's fine with us. I'm all for it. 100%.
Apparently, the CIA played quite a role in spreading false reports to Iranians that the airman had been captured or misrepresenting where he was when they were searching for him, and that helped extract the second of the 2 pilots on that crew of that F-15. So there you go.
I listened to a gentleman this morning who's a military expert, and he did refer to the Iranian rank and file as just barbarians. He did. He called them barbarians. So for Trump to use strong language,
Well, when you throw people off buildings just because you don't agree with their lifestyle, how else do you describe these folks?
and the idea, we told you the story about the young lady that was burned real bad trying to blow up a Jewish hospital, and then she said, I would volunteer again. After the Jews healed her, treated her, and got her well, and sent her home, I would love to sign up again to suicide bomb that hospital for Allah. Man. You know, I had somebody this weekend, I got to thinking about when Jesus came back, when the Romans took him and after Christ died, and like Simon Peter, I mean, certainly, you know, by the Catholics, revered as the first pope.
A lot of Simons back then.
But Peter, being the guy that he was, that he himself had walked with Jesus Christ and denied knowing Christ. No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me that was with him. And there's a part of me that says, you would love to be that guy that stood up in front of a crowd and say, if a Muslim walked in here today and pointed an AK at me and said, are you a Christian? Yes, I am. You can bet on that. Take my life for God. You love to be that flamboyant of a, you know, professing Christian. Remember the old song that said, pledge allegiance to any flag they wave, and then do what you have to do on the backside? My heart wants me to be the guy that would say, yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm willing to die for what I believe. I can't guarantee you that, but I can tell you this. I'm willing to kill for what I believe. The idea of war is not to die for your country. It's to let some other poor, dumb bastard die for his. That would be, what was his name? Patton. General Patton said that. Yeah. There you have it.
Good news on a Monday, El Paso, Texas. The number 2 city in the country to live in, according to U.S. News and World Report's national rankings of the best large cities, if you can believe that.
What a clown show. El Paso is a dump.
Quality of life, value, desirability, job market, migration, affordable housing, low rent,
Hovels,
livability,
slum, crime.
setting it apart from other metros.
Terrible place.
Austin, number 3, Fort Worth, number 4, San Antonio, number 6, Houston, number 10 on that list. Oklahoma City was ranked the number 1
Worst
best
ranking
city
ever
to live in. Oklahoma City's a nice city.
Yeah, Oklahoma City's got some cool stuff.
You like Oklahoma City?
They've done a ton. To
How can
revitalize
Houston be
it.
I had a
top
friend
10?
that just moved to El Paso, and he goes, this isn't the El Paso that I remembered from his childhood. So there you go.
Said it was
could be
better?
something, yeah. Says it's kind of surprised him. Remember last week we talked about the affordability of states and what it takes, how long it takes you to save up for a house.
Oh, yeah, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah. Texas claiming 4 of the top 12 spots on a new list. I think Zillow, Money Lion, and a few others were involved in this one, but the most affordable and fastest growing. Yeah. Had to be at least 100,000 residents, so Victoria, you didn't make the list because of that. But
it's wrong again. How does anybody think New Braunfels is affordable? At number 3, there's no water, and everything over there costs $300 a foot. I've looked.
I was looking at a house that was yesterday. Somebody posted their house for sale on the interwebs, and it wasn't anything fancy. $450,000 is the asking price.
But Conroe, Louisville, Pearland, Denton, Fort Worth, Grand Prairie. Okay, I could see some of that.
But honestly, from an affordability standpoint, Victoria, even though it doesn't make the $100,000 or 100,000 population criteria, you can buy houses in Victoria for a darn good price. It is very affordable. Marina pointed that out.
There you go.
Wow, look at that. Frisco homeowners led the nation in leftover savings after housing costs, saving about $83,000 annually. Pretty good. Pretty good. What else is happening? How about these? Did you see this Snell Valley High School kids, ISD, up around West Travis County? 4 17-year-olds, the school district there, distancing themselves. Oh, they're former students.
Right. Fair. That's fair.
They lured a classmate out of school. Well, it sounds like they basically, 3 of them showed up at the school and took them with them. They've been charged with aggravated kidnapping, assault, a whole bunch of other stuff, because this guy was apparently talking to one guy's girlfriend.
So it's just boys being boys, nothing to see here. But why would you make a big deal about it being Del Valley ISD when they were former students? Anybody that grew up in Del Valley is probably a Del Valley ISD former student.
4 17-year-olds.
Right?
This is the part that's probably more
3 youths
to me.
that once shopped at a 7-Eleven, grabbed a kid and took it. 7-Eleven was involved.
tortured them, tried to poison them with alcohol, beat them with aluminum bats.
Are you sure this wasn't industrial ISD? Are you sure this wasn't a baseball team deal? Because that happened out there, right? You remember that 2 years ago?
That wasn't to this extreme.
Oh, okay. Now you're rating people's pain.
I'm rating the force.
We
of
don't
the
know
attack.
what they went through.
They burned the guy, beat him with a bat, a cane, and a belt.
And they duct taped his hands and mouth
and feet. Yep.
That sounds like
all because
that
he talked
sounds
to,
like Caden beating on Ryland. That's
talk
just
to the-
another day at my house.
Talk to the 4th guy's girlfriend.
I walk in the house, find Ryland gagged and bound at the front door, and he's going, "What is it, boy? What do you need, son?" Just wants me to take the duct tape off his mouth.
Timmy fell down the well.
Tim, what is it, boy?
So do you take it off and then listen to him and put it back on?
The
or-
representative said, "The safety of our students and staff is our top priority, and we will continue to monitor this incident. We will always communicate with
Well,
the
what they're
school
worried
community."
about is the 3 guys got onto campus that are former students. And
Somebody getting
and
sued.
And they perp walked this kid off the campus with
Nice.
threats of, violence.
Crazy
that's
town.
that's what they're concerned about. The Del Valley ISD officials. The 4 now face several charges and between 5 and 99 years in prison if convicted.
Wow. Folks, we thank you so much for entering the Atzenhofer studio with us. Anytime you want to come in, you're always welcome, just as you are at Atzenhofer. They'd love to have you come in today and shop for a new vehicle. Hope you guys have a great day. It is Monday. Go win Monday. You can't win the week if you don't win Monday. We're very, very proud to be in this community and proud of the support we get from y'all. I've got some news coming. Ash and I are going to promote a rally, a get-together, and Junior Samples is already like, "I'm in." I know people like Torrin Bales. We'd love to have a leftist or two come in. We'd love to have one of you leftist people come in as well. The plan is to host a deal where we give away some breakfast tacos or we barter some breakfast tacos in exchange for some canned goods. And we're going to turn around and present those canned goods in your name to Christ's Kitchen. Rather than just going out and holding up signs and looking like an idiot at a No Kings rally, no work king, no Christ is king. That instead of that type of a deal, we want to get together and feed somebody now and feed somebody later with your canned goods. And that is a nonpartisan deal. You may be intimidated.
Some will make it partisan.
We're going to call it a No Fools rally. You make the decision if you want to be involved or not.
You don't want to
There
be
you
a
go.
fool. You come and help and
That's
support.
exactly right. I hope you have a great day. We love you guys. It's the top of the hour. Go get them. Have a great day.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.